All right, showing a little bit of Tesla self-driving on my way home from work. Did a drive this morning and had some problems with the camera, and it's a shame because it was a perfect drive from home to work with no interventions. A couple of other things I wanted to point out but didn't get a chance to. We should be going here. I thought I would talk a little bit during this video about a topic. So I was going to do Sentry Mode for this one. We'll see if anything interesting happens on this drive, see if there's any interventions for any reason. We could talk about those if it does. But in the meantime, I thought I'd talk a little bit about Sentry Mode. Because Sentry Mode is one of the coolest features I think this car has. All Teslas have. And at its core, it's an alarm system for your car, right? But it's a lot more than that. So it starts with the basics of it's your car alarm. However, let's see what happens here first. All right, we're good. So as a car alarm, Sentry Mode, you leave your car. If you have Sentry Mode enabled, it's on. It monitors your car. It alerts you if someone tries to break into your car. If someone was to try and break into your car, you would get an alert. The horn would be, the screen would brighten, would show the Sentry Mode alert, and then you would also get music blasting, basically things, to deter somebody and scare them away. But those alerts are pretty cool, but the coolest feature, in my mind, is on the app. So on the app, at any time, whether you have an alert or not, part of how Sentry Mode works is it utilizes the cameras that are surrounding the car to monitor for anything. And it captures clips of them, which you can view here, and it saves them to USB, which is in the car. You can extract those and you could do whatever you want with those video files. But because it has those and you have the remote access to your car through the app, you can go to Sentry Mode on the app and you can get a live view of the cameras of your car. So on this car, I can look at the front view and see what's happening in front of my car. I can look at the sides, the back, and then I also have the cabin camera, which is located right here above the mirror. The cabin camera I hate a lot of the time because during full self-driving like this, sometimes it'll tell me I'm not paying attention and it'll be prepared to disengage if I don't pay attention to the road. It's actually more of a distraction to me than a safety feature there, I think. But you can get a view inside your car as well. So all you have to do is open the Tesla app, go to Sentry Mode, and then you see the camera icon for the live view. So just open that up and you can take a look. And I'll show that here. One of the negatives about Sentry Mode, though, is battery drain. So it's not terrible. It's not going to cause a problem for you when you're having your daily use of your car. There is a feature to exclude in settings. You can exclude Sentry Mode from turning on when you're at home or at work if you check the boxes. You can add some other favorite locations if you want. I do have it turned off when I'm at home. I leave it on when I'm at work. The time you might want to disable Sentry Mode is if you're going away for a few days. So it does use battery to be monitoring with the cameras, keeping an eye on your car for you. In my experience, I've heard different numbers, but I would say you could expect to drop 8% per hour that it's on, which in 24 hours is 24%, right? So if you're going away for a few days, you might want to disable Sentry Mode, especially if you're going to an airport or something, leaving your car there while you're traveling. You don't want to come home to a dead battery, right? So good tip to do that. While I'm talking about that, if you were going to be concerned about battery life, the other thing to do is go into climate controls on your app and disable cabin overheat protection. in there's 3 settings for 3 different temperatures. But if you're going to be away and you don't want battery drain, just disable that too. I've found personally that if I disable cabin overheat protection and I disable Sentry Mode, I don't see more than a mile drop off of my battery per day. But if I left it on, I'd have a significant drop. So just something to think about when you're thinking about battery life and leaving your car for a little bit. With all of that said, while I've been talking to you, the car's been driving itself through various roads here, turns, traffic. As you can see, there hasn't been a problem yet. It's fun to post videos of where things go wrong with self-driving, and if you look at my channel, you'll see plenty. Like, I definitely share the good and the bad. But this is the amazing part about it, really, is your normal driving where there isn't. Now, as I say that, I'm not sure what my car is doing right now. I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna take over because I don't know what just happened here. That was bad. It put me into a road that is not a lane, and now I'm head on with like another car, and I don't know what it's doing, and he's wondering what I'm doing. This was not good. This was not a turning lane. At first I thought it was just getting over to the left for the turning lane that is up here. That's not what happened. So okay, there's an intervention. I'm not sure why it moved into that. I hope you could see on the video that it wasn't a lane that it just moved into. It was the center of the road for turns, and it just behaved as if it wanted to get in that and pass the cars as if this was a passing lane, which it was not. I'm going to put self-driving back on, and we'll see what happens with the rest of this drive. But that was definitely not a good thing, and that could have been really dangerous. I guess it's a good time to call out that if you're using self-driving, I mean, you'll see I will take over, you'll watch my videos, there's been some close calls, there's been some bad things. The reason I haven't had an accident is I'm always ready to take over. I'm not, as good as this is, I don't trust it with my life, you shouldn't either. It's not at that level yet. I would say 95% of the time it drives safer than I would. I think it is safer than a human. 95% of the time. However, 95% of the time is not enough to trust your life to some software and a giant piece of metal hurling down a road. Just the reminder, it's a beta, right? With that said, it is pretty amazing. A lot of my drives are zero intervention drives. As I said, check out my channel, subscribe. I'd appreciate it, obviously, if you subscribe, but check it out. I definitely post the good and the bad. There's plenty of problems posted on there with self-driving. There's also a lot of zero intervention drives where things just go great. Let's see if we have anything else interesting as we go through this ride here. My commute that I'm on is about an hour and 15 minutes or so, hour 20 minutes, and it's across 2 states. It's through Pennsylvania and New Jersey, with a whole mix of interstate highways, bridges, local back roads. It's a great place to test out how are the betas doing, and I'd like to give it a shot every time, especially when there's an update to the beta software. See what's improved, what hasn't improved. But I will say it's gotten better and better consistently all the time. Aside from those edge cases where things just go wrong. Alright. Moving along. A little bit here, we'll be going over a bridge, crossing into New Jersey. We'll see how that goes. The steering wheel nag, that's what people call it. The There's probably a better name for it, but it's a warning that pops up and says apply slight pressure to the steering wheel. And that's just, it's a regulatory thing. It's making sure that, you know, you're not totally hands-off letting the car drive when it's a beta, and it's not allowed to do that legally. However, what I would say about those steering wheel nags is I'm starting to feel like they are more dangerous than not having them. And that's because I'm typically, when I'm driving with self-driving on, I'm paying attention to the road. I'm watching that. I'm glancing at this to see what the car sees and what it's planning on doing. But then I get that, and it distracts me. So the reminder to touch the steering wheel and pay attention is actually distracting at this point. I don't know that it should go away, but I think the interval between them should be a bit longer. Just my opinion. So this is Tesla version, self-driving version, 11.4.4. I should have 11.4.7 anytime now. I'll do a new video posting that and seeing if there's any improvements. Occasionally there's things go the opposite direction, and there are some regressions. And there were a few regressions with this one, in my opinion. On some roads near where I live, the small back roads, there aren't any lane markings. There's no lane dividers, yellow lines, white lines. And self-driving navigates those roads fantastic. It's probably the most amazing thing I see the car do, is do that, because you know that it's doing strictly based on vision that it has, right? There's no coding that it's following for lines, because there are no lines. But one thing that I've seen that regressed on 11.4.4 is it seems to drive more in the center of the road. Actually, somebody commented on that in one of my videos before I even noticed it. And then I started paying attention, and I looked back at some of the other videos from the same roads. It definitely does. It'll drive kind of in the center of an unmarked road, which doesn't seem ideal, but it's a change from previous betas, so I'm not sure why it's doing it. That car seemed to not know where it was going, what it was doing, made some changes, and this car adapted to that very, very easily, which is nice. I mean, the car is very much aware. The reason I feel it's safer than a human in most cases is the cameras, right? So it's looking at everything in real time, just like a human is, but I don't have eyes in the back of my head, and the car does. The car has vision in the front, the sides, the back. It's looking 360 all around it all the time. A human can't do that, right? So it has more data to make decisions than a human does. So especially as this continues to improve, there is no question it will be safer than a human. It can't get distracted either, right? Humans get distracted. The car cannot. So let's see how we handle this turn here. Road's a little bumpy. It's trying to decide what to do. It's got it. It's moving out of the way. The car is parked on the side of the road here. Handled that really well. Probably going to cut this video off just up here. I want to see us merge onto this bridge, see how it handles that. I haven't tried that on this version, so let's see how it handles entering this bridge. First is just to turn onto this road. So good. Let's see how it merges. It should be merging to the left because this lane ends. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to. It's got a signal on. There's a car behind me. And it's going. Perfect. So a little scary to a human in that case, where I know the lane was ending and it wasn't moving when I thought it should, but it was watching it. It did adjust, it signaled, it waited for the car. moved past, and it merged. A little messier than I would like, but it did it, and it did it safely. So, well done. Now driving across the bridge, handling it well. All right, I think that's about it for this video. I appreciate you watching. I really appreciate if you'd subscribe or like the video. Helps me out, motivates me to keep doing this if I know that people are watching. So thanks, appreciate it. Until next time.